The sun, a molten orb, began its slow descent over the dense canopy of Gombe National Park, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple that filtered through the tangled vines and broad leaves. A hush fell over the forest, broken only by the rustling of leaves in the evening breeze, the distant calls of unseen creatures like hyraxes and hornbills, and the occasional splash from the streams winding through the valleys below. For the Kasakela chimpanzee community, however, this evening was different. A profound silence, heavy and suffocating, had settled amongst them, a silence born of loss. Sage, the venerable patriarch, the wise old male whose presence had anchored their world for decades, was gone. Sage had been a legend among the troop and the researchers who shadowed them. His silver-streaked fur, a testament to his advanced years in countless battles, had always been a comforting sight as he moved deliberately through the undergrowth. His deep, resonant hoots had once commanded respect and instilled order during territorial patrols, echoing through the valleys like thunder that warned intruders away. He had led them through countless seasons, navigating treacherous territorial disputes with neighboring groups by orchestrating powerful charging displays that united the males in a thunderous show of strength. He mediated internal conflicts with a mere glare or a calming pant grunt, preventing escalation into harmful fights. In times of abundance, he shared in the joyous celebrations of new births, hoisting infants aloft in triumphant displays, while the females cooed approvingly, strengthening the bonds of the troop. He had mentored young males like Quito in the art of hunting colobus monkeys, teaching them patience and strategy amid the chaos of the chase, demonstrating how to anticipate leaps through the canopy. Even in quieter moments, Sage's influence was felt. He was often the center of grooming clusters, where alliances were forged through hours of careful picking and stroking. Now his body lay still beneath the ancient fig tree, its massive roots cradling him like an eternal embrace, its dangling fruits untouched above him, a stark reminder of life's fragile impermanence. His eyes, once sparkling with intelligence and a hint of mischief during playful interactions, were now glazed over, reflecting nothing but the fading light in the indifferent sky. The first to discover him was Luna, a young female known for her inquisitive nature and boundless curiosity about the world beyond the troop's core territory. She had ventured slightly farther than usual that afternoon, foraging alone and nibbling on tender shoots and wild berries, her nimble fingers exploring every crevice for hidden insects. When she stumbled upon the motionless form half hidden in the shade of the fig tree, her initial reaction was one of excitement, perhaps mistaking the dark shape for a new resting spot or something intriguing. But as she drew closer, her excited chirps, usually a prelude to a new discovery, like a hidden termite mound ripe for fishing or a cluster of ripe jackfruit, quickly turned into a series of distressed whimpers, high-pitched, wavering calls that rose in pitch and urgency, piercing the evening air like alarms that carried far through the forest. The other chimpanzees, scattered in small subgroups across the hillside, were drawn by her unusual cries. They approached cautiously from different directions, their footsteps soft on the thick leaf litter, some pausing to scan for potential threats like leopards before continuing. Mothers carried clinging infants on their bellies. Adolescent males like Quito bounded ahead with stiff-legged gaits, curiosity overriding caution. As they saw Sage, their initial curiosity morphed into a palpable sense of confusion, then a dawning comprehension that spread like a ripple through the group. Some paused mid-stride, freezing in place with raised hackles. Others let out low, uncertain hoots that trailed off unresolved. A few females embraced briefly, knuckles rubbing backs in subtle reassurance. The air crackled with an unspoken understanding, a collective realization that something fundamental had shifted in their world. The anchor was gone, and the troop felt unmoored. What followed was not the immediate abandonment one might expect from creatures driven solely by instinct. Instead, a profound and complex display of grief began to unfold, a testament to the deep emotional bonds that knit this primate society together. Willow, Sage's longtime companion, a female whose own fur was now flecked with gray from years of shared adventures, mutual support during lean seasons, and quiet alliances against rising challengers, was the first to approach him closely. Her movements were slow, deliberate, almost hesitant, as if each step required immense effort against an invisible weight. She reached out a trembling hand, her fingers gently tracing the contours of his face, parting his lips to peer inside as if checking for breath, lifting his heavy arm and letting it fall gently, and even swatting at invisible flies buzzing around his body. A protective gesture that spoke of lingering care and denial. Her soft grunts, usually a sign of contentment during their long grooming sessions, were now laced with a mournful quality, a low, guttural lament that rose and fell rhythmically, seeming to echo the sorrow of the entire forest and drawing soft echoes from others nearby. Other chimpanzees gathered around, forming a loose circle that grew denser as more arrived. Their usual boisterous chatter, filled with pant hoots, playful barks, and food calls, replaced by a hushed reverence broken only by occasional sighs or whimpers. They sat or crouched in postures of quiet attention, their gazes fixed on Sage's lifeless form. Some groomed themselves absent-mindedly, picking at their fur in nervous displacement, a common sign of internal stress in times of uncertainty. Others simply stared, their expressions unreadable yet undeniably somber, brows furrowed in what observers might interpret as deep contemplation or sorrow. A few reached out tentatively to touch him, sniffing his familiar scent now mingled with the onset of decay, gently prodding his chest in search of movement, or embracing one another in quiet reassurance, bodies pressed close with arms draped over shoulders in a shared bid for comfort. Youngsters, usually full of boundless energy and tumbling in mock fights or chasing butterflies, clung tightly to their mothers, peeking out from beneath arms, their wide, innocent eyes reflecting the confusion and distress they sensed from the adults. They had known Sage as a constant, a pillar of their community who tolerated their antics, occasionally joining in with gentle play by dangling them from branches or allowing them to clamber over him, and his stillness was an anomaly they couldn't yet fully grasp. One bold infant even attempted to climb onto Sage's unmoving back, as if expecting the familiar rise and fall of breath or a tolerant grunt, only to slide off and retreat with a puzzled whimper. As the night deepened, the chimpanzees did not retreat to their individual nests high in the branches, woven fresh each evening from bent twigs and leaves. Instead, they remained with Sage, a silent vigil under the vast, star-studded sky, dotted with the faint glow of fireflies dancing in the undergrowth and the distant silhouette of mountains against the Milky Way. Willow lay beside him, her body curled protectively around his larger frame, her hands still resting on his chest as if monitoring for a heartbeat that would never return. Occasionally, she would nudge him gently with her muzzle, a soft, hopeful gesture accompanied by a plaintive whimper that carried a note of desperation, as if willing him to stir and resume their familiar rhythm. Her grief was raw, visceral, a testament to the years of shared experiences. The mutual grooming sessions under dappled sunlight, where parasites were removed with careful precision. The quiet companionship during torrential rainy afternoons, huddled together under broad leaves. The way he had defended her fiercely during aggressive encounters with rivals from neighboring troops. It was a bond that transcended mere survival, a connection rooted in affection, loyalty, and perhaps even a form of love that bound them across seasons. The next morning, the sun rose slowly, casting long golden shadows through the trees and illuminating dew-kissed leaves that sparkled like scattered jewels. But the mood remained heavy, the forest sounds seeming muted in sympathy. The chimpanzees were still gathered around Sage, though some had shifted slightly to forage nearby for morning fruits, their movements lethargic and half-hearted, bites taken mechanically without the usual smacking delight. Some, like young Keto, a boisterous adolescent who had often sparred playfully with Sage, charging at him in mock displays with pillow-erected hair, only to be gently pinned and groomed in return, learning the nuances of dominance, approached and sniffed his body intently, circling slowly, their brows furrowed in a mixture of curiosity and sorrow. Keto even tried to groom Sage's fur meticulously, parting the silver strands with his fingers and lips, removing bits of leaf debris in a futile attempt to restore the familiar order, to bring back the warmth and responsiveness that had always emanated from the old male. Nearby, other individuals mirrored subtle behaviors, A mid-ranking female softly rocked back and forth, while a juvenile male sat with arms wrapped around his knees, staring fixedly. This act of grooming the deceased, seemingly simple yet persistent, spoke volumes about the chimpanzee's understanding of death. Not as a sudden disappearance, but as a cessation of life. A permanent stillness that demanded acknowledgement and care. Throughout the day, the community's behavior continued to be marked by an unusual quietude that extended across their home range. Feeding was sporadic, individuals picking at figs or leaves without their usual enthusiasm or competitive grunts, and play, usually a constant feature of their lives with chasing games, tickling bouts, and acrobatic swings through the vines, was almost entirely absent. The usual squabbles over prized food items or social hierarchy were forgotten, with no branch-shaking displays or charging interruptions. Even dominant males, who might typically assert themselves with loud calls and ground slapping, moved subdued, occasionally glancing back at the fig tree with lingering gazes. Mothers carried infants more closely than usual, and alliances seemed temporarily strengthened through increased embraces. It was as if Sage's death had momentarily suspended the normal rhythms of their existence, forcing them to confront a profound truth about their own mortality and the fragility of their social fabric, a pause in the relentless cycle of survival. Scientists observing the Kasakela community from hidden vantage points with binoculars and cameras had long documented their complex social structures and emotional intelligence. Behaviors like cooperative hunting, political alliances, reconciliation hugs after fights, and even consolation through embraces for distressed individuals. But this prolonged mourning ritual offered a deeper, more poignant insight into their inner worlds. It challenged the long-held anthropocentric view that grief, with its intricate emotional landscape of denial, sadness, and acceptance, was solely a human prerogative. The chimpanzee's actions, the prolonged vigil spanning night into day, the gentle touching and cleaning of the body, the subdued behavior and reduced appetite, the evident distress and mutual comforting through physical contact, all pointed to a sophisticated understanding of loss and a capacity for empathy that resonated deeply with human experiences of bereavement, blurring the lines between us and them. As the days passed, 3, then 4, the chimpanzees slowly began to resume some of their normal activities, venturing farther afield for richer foraging patches, engaging in tentative play among the juveniles, and responding to distant calls from neighboring troops. But the memory of Sage lingered palpably. Willow continued to visit his resting place for several more days, sitting nearby in quiet reflection for long periods, occasionally reaching out to touch the spot where he lay, as leaves began to cover him naturally. The community's dynamics shifted subtly yet irrevocably. Younger males tested boundaries more boldly with increased displays, alliances realigned, and a new male, stronger and more assertive with a powerful build and bold stare, began to assume some of Sage's former leadership roles, his pant hoots filling the void with fresh energy and drawing followers on patrols. But the void left by the old patriarch was undeniable. His wisdom in diffusing tensions, his calm demeanor during crises, his steady presence that provided security to all. These were qualities that could not be easily replaced, leaving a subtle undercurrent of uncertainty in the troop. The story of Sage's passing and the Kasakela community's response became a powerful testament to the emotional depth of our closest primate relatives, documented in field notes and shared among researchers worldwide. It offered a scientific glimpse into the complex world of animal bereavement, reminding us that the bonds of family and community, the pain of loss, and the process of mourning are not exclusively human experiences, but part of a shared evolutionary heritage. In the quiet grief of the chimpanzees under the ancient fig tree, we saw a reflection of our own humanity, a profound connection that transcends species and speaks to the universal experience of life and death in the intricate tapestry of the natural world. The forest, in its eternal cycle of life and decay, new shoots emerging even as old giants fell, had witnessed a moment of profound sorrow, a poignant reminder that even in the wild, hearts can break, memories can endure, and the echoes of loss shape the living long after the departed are gone.